Welcome back to the Krabby Club podcast. I'm your host, Ryder Victory, and this is a show about anything. And I hope you liked episode 1. For anyone that didn't know, that episode was scripted. So I wanted to try out scripted videos because my friend Regalia64 is bringing back his channel with a revamp of new content. And he's actually doing scripted videos. And I wanted to try it out myself. But it kind of didn't go well. I mean, if you guys weren't able to tell it was scripted, then good for me. I guess I'm getting better at writing. But if it didn't and you could tell, then yeah, I pretty suck at writing. I mean, that's why I don't do writing. Usually that's why when it comes to writing, I either copy or paste or just rearrange words because I never write my own papers usually. That's how you pass high school, kids. But today, for anyone that doesn't know, I'm actually a reseller. I buy, resell. I'm not big. I mean, it depends on the items. Usually, you can't always find good items when you go for a hunt. You don't expect anything new, and you don't expect to sell anything at a huge profit or very fast, after all. If you want fast sales, then get into something that is more resellable and also more recent. Usually video games is a good thing, but any popular video game or anything interesting, eye-catching, something that you've never seen, like limited run games or games that are highly rated but were limited releases, something like that. But usually you won't always find those. If you go to game shops, maybe you find them for a good deal, but maybe you won't. Like, I recommend if you go into a game shop, go into areas like, go into the collectible books. If you don't see a tag on them, buy it, pick it up, and go, because my location, I won't say the name just in case they figure out who I am, probably will. They had 2 items I bought. Because these are the most recent in my head and also the ones that came to mind. A Rhyme. It wasn't a poster. It's a cloth map for the game Rhyme on PS4. I forgot what other systems, but I wanted to buy it because it was there for almost a year, or actually a year, and no one had bought it. A lot of items don't get bought, and that one did not have a price tag. So I asked how much for it, and when they told me $1, I was like, wow, they could. Because the guy was actually searching for the price, couldn't find it. He was like, yeah, I'll take $1. I was like, that's pretty cool. And I gave him the $1 for it. I actually bought a few other stuff that day, but that's the thing that came to mind. And also because I really liked the game. Another game, I had it when I had PSN, but no longer play it because I don't have it. And that was Rayman Origins art book. And I picked it up it didn't have a tag. So I asked him, I was walking around the store, like, should I take a chance? Should I buy it? I walk up, I ask, how much for it? And he's like, $5. And my friends across the twins, Regalia64 and Fancy Sheep, they were on the other side of the store, and they were just like giggling and laughing, and they were looking at their phone. I was like, what's so funny? I was like, dude, that's a $36 book. I was like, oh, wow, cool. And I was actually just thinking of keeping it if it wasn't worth that much. But I'm also not a really big fan. And they were like, wow, the moment you find out it actually has value, you try to sell it. I actually did not sell it because no one was buying. A lot of people liked it, but no one was buying because it wasn't recent. There was nothing Rayman related releases or anything big other than DLC or crossovers with other games. So I just sold it back to them when there was a different guy on the counter. I actually made more back than I did back then. When I bought it, I think it sold for 10. Also, a few items sold for 10. Of course, I kept a lot of them. And yeah, I resell. To give you an example how much I made on the 2 years I've been reselling, if I would have never spent a single penny and only bought essentials like food when needed, I would probably have over 2,000, something around there. It's kind of a long shot, but yeah, it would probably be around there. because if I would have kept most of my items and invested, like my pot figures, I sold them when they were the highest. Of course, some of them were already at their highest right before their fall, so that was good. Some of them actually lowered in price and or increased in price during that time. Tenya Pop was one of them. Yeah, Tenya was one that increased from 100 something to 150ish, and I sold it for 100 something. I think 100 exactly. I don't recall. And then All Might, I sold it for like almost 300, and some other pops at really big prices. But of course, I bought a new PC, and that actually helps with my editing, my podcast, everything, including my school. So it wasn't a really bad investment. And also, it has VR support, so not too bad, I gotta say. For $800 and reselling my PC that I kind of sold wasn't actually built for a lot of games. It was a budget build. So yeah, it wasn't a bad investment in that money, and I'm not ashamed of it. I mean, yeah, I think back like maybe I should have bought all those things. Maybe I should have downgraded by a little, but I was like, it's better to have something newer than something that will break. I mean, not all the time, like sometimes, like depending on the website, you can return it, get your money back, or etc. And I didn't with this. I mean, the computer, I love it. I still have it. It works perfectly. Once in a while, I have to clean it. I mean, I do it myself, delete some useless files that I don't need, or I have to actually go clean up my video files. I have so many videos. I have every video saved from both of my channels, and they're taking a lot of space, and I should probably remove a lot of them. I mean, it's not like, unless my channel all of a sudden gets terminated, that's gonna suck. But I mean, why would it? I mean, it's not like I have something offensive on it. If I would, it would probably be this channel or this podcast. I've said some pretty rude stuff, and probably not really good ones. And yeah, so if you want to get into reselling, you have to look into the big picture. Like when it comes to, like, my friend Anime Fate has an eye for the collectibles. Sometimes he's off by a bit. My friend Star Duelist has an eye for anything high pull rates in TCG related. I mean, I can. That's a different story. I'll talk about that whenever we bring back episode 3 of the Beyond the Zone TCG podcast. But there's only 2 episodes, and most of them are old topics that were nothing related to the topics that were recent. But whatever, it was actually pretty good and pretty decent. It's just Star Duelist. If you ever listen to this, we gotta do it together, because I don't think I'll be able to stand it each time, because sometimes I answer your question and I've never heard it because it cut out, and I don't want to be like, if the robot picked it up, I don't want to have you repeat it again, so I'm just like, yeah, and I just keep going. I'm sorry. I've just told you this now after so many years of recording Beyond the Zone. It's like Beyond the Zone 1.5 at this point. It practically is. It's like version 5. And yeah, I have an eye for money making sometimes. Like, I bought a printer for $2.99 at Goodwill, and has the stickers from the original buy, the original box, and everything. Practically the only difference was the screen was old because it was probably in the sun for a while. And I bought it half off that day too, and I made $30 on it. That's almost a $29 profit. So yeah, it wasn't too bad an investment. Bought a Netgear router, a Nighthawk, for $1 something. Everything was half off that day. Of course, these were different days and different months, but that was half off. I bought a few other routers, sold that for $60. Sold the other things. I actually have a router I should actually sell because I no longer need it, no longer use it. And actually the router we have is actually around the same power, so I really don't need the older one. Might as well sell it. And it's actually a really good router. For anyone gaming related, It's actually really good. And I mean, you don't have to buy it, and I'm not gonna post it yet. It's actually a Linkus E2500 or something around there. I forgot. But yeah, I mean, I used to resell cards back when I quit. No, I did it when I was still working at Hell's Kitchen. And no, it wasn't the show. It was actually hell in a kitchen, because that's how the bosses made you feel like. If you want to hear that story, let me know. I might talk about it, or I might make a short documentary about it. Of course, I don't want to be rude. Their food is still amazing. It's just their people just suck, and they're pretty rude, messed up people. I mean, like, one of the guys can't quit because he didn't have his papers. So yeah, he was being forced to stay there. So that's kind of bad. I mean, good and bad. I mean, they were helping him stay here, not telling them, but also being rude that if he ever quit, they use that against him, you know? Like, that isn't the best customer service. I mean, that explains why they never kept anyone longer than a few days. I mean, they had 3 workers, 1 went to jail. My friend lasted like 2 years, almost 2 years or 3 years. I lasted like 10 months. I'm like, I'm out of here. Yeah, we left for Comic-Con, and that's when everything started. Cards, RetroPixel. Well, if I ever bring back RetroPixel, I want to bring it back as a gaming shop and not just as that. I want to keep it separated from cards, because I have the Lost Zone, and the Lost Zone can be considered gaming and can be considered cards because it's no physical thing. RetroPixel has retro and pixel, and usually those are related with retro video games or older pixelated retro games. And you know, I probably didn't think that through, but hey, RetroPixel, it's a great name. I mean, I don't have the license for it, so technically anyone can take it, but I technically have all the creation files, so I technically have creator something laws. I forgot what it was called. My teachers told us that once you create something original of your own, then it's technically under the creation law or something, or creator law, that it is yours, and if someone does try to use it or take it, then you can prove it was yours because you have the files that you created it, of course. And I mean, that's actually pretty cool. I mean, I have a lot of things, like Random Victory wasn't original. I took it from someone else and made it even bigger than it was. And yeah, I mean, I technically didn't steal it. On YouTube, if you have the same name, well, it's just a coincidence, you know. Like, many people can come up with the same names or not. Like, my second channel, for this channel, Chuyito, is actually based off my nickname that everyone's been calling me ever since I was born. So that's why I named it like that. Not because of something like this or something like that or some other reason. No, I named it because of that. And also because I want to have fun. I wasn't going to name it, hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jesus Virueta Diaz Jr. the second, blah, 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 blah. I wasn't going to put that as a freaking channel name. I don't even think you're allowed that big of a name. I mean, when you're Mexican, it usually takes up the entire, especially when your teacher in elementary told you, put your full name in the box, the top right box. I'm like, but my full name doesn't fit. He's like, well, not my problem. He's like, oh, yeah, you son of a bitch. Like, I mean, yeah. I mean, this whole episode is just going off topic, but I'm actually enjoying it. Even though I enjoyed the scripted video we had, it wasn't me. It wasn't my natural self. I prefer being let loose, just talking, let go. And I'm still trying to find a format for it, trying to get you guys engaged. And I think the best way is just being myself. After all, being myself usually ends up being wrong, hilarious, or just everything. And I think you guys might enjoy it, or girls, of course, gender equality. And after all, one of my most popular videos in my Facebook page is actually the ghost hunting video, and that's surprising, being that I didn't think that video was gonna be anything big. I thought it was just gonna be something different. Actually, do not resell on Facebook. Marketplace, yes, but don't ever open a page and try to resell on there. Usually it will never work. Unless you have money to put into it, like promoting your page, like $10, $5, promoting every post, boosting it, do it, but it costs fees, it costs all these other things. I recommend, if you're gonna sell cards, resell it to local people, Facebook pages. Usually try to find Facebook pages where people are trying to buy, or ask like, hey, I know this page isn't for this, but could I interest you any on buying cards? And usually that's actually a pretty good idea. Of course, you can go to eBay, but eBay is just like outrageous. Seriously? If an item is like 0.5 ounces, not even 1 ounce, it's like half an ounce, it still costs you like over $3.99 for shipping. I'm like, that's outrageous. The only thing that's gonna make a profit out of that is gonna be like a $10 card or higher. Like, usually use that for a $10 card or higher. If you use anything like that, because a pack usually is $3, $4 with tax. Of course, if you live in a state with tax. Oregon doesn't have any, and we have tax, and usually they come out at $4 something. And yeah, so if you pull a $10 card for $10, you practically made like $1 something in profit. It's not good. Of course, I didn't add the cents and stuff. I just estimated with the whole numbers, like it's at 3 something. It all depends, because usually cards won't last in that price very long, or once they get hit, it's gone. Like I tried to invest for this Master Roll 5 format, and I was trying to, but also I just got bored. Like, cards is the best and worst thing you could do, because of one reason. It is a gamble. You think loot boxes are bad? Try opening packs. See your odds when the card you want is short printed. Like hell. The card I wanted, we opened 6 boxes and never got one. Someone opened one and got 2, and I couldn't even get 1. And that's all I needed for my Yu-Gi-Oh deck. And I never saw the light of that card. It was Utopia the Lightning on the Kaiba collection box. Never saw it, and probably will never see it. And it's a gamble. It's one of the worst reselling things. Technically, the best reselling thing you could get into is bulk. Buy bulk, because yes, if you let's imagine, I've sold a ton of bulk. I had over 10,000 cards in bulk, and I've sold a ton of bulk. I've made more money on that bulk than I ever did. And do not ship. Do it to your local card shops. Text them, send them Facebook Messenger. Usually they have those. Send them one. Be like, hey, do you buy bulk? And if they do, ask them like, is there any specific things I should be aware of to be selling bulk? And just ask them that. Because if not, you might bring everything and they might tell you, oh, like $3 or something. I know, because if you're gonna buy bulk, try to go for it depends on the amount. If it's $10 for like 500 or 600, something around there, that's a pretty good deal. If it's 20 for 600, nah, don't do it, because usually a stack of around 300 cards is usually $3. And yes, but you're gathering bulk to collect, and that does not mean some of the cards are useless. Some of the cards actually raise in price when people don't notice. After all, some commons in Yu-Gi-Oh end up being really expensive. Not really expensive. A 2-cent card went up once a regional one increased from 2 cents up to $2. Not too bad of an investment if you say if I say so myself. For Yu-Gi-Oh, you have to look into the format, everything that's coming out, everything that's being played, or things that are potentially could be used in the format that's coming out. Like Master Roll 5, practically it's allowing spams. So practically anything that allows you to summon, negates, let's just say anything like Nibiru. If you summon more than one monster, summon more than 5 monsters, or special summon 5 or more monsters, then you can destroy all their monsters and summon one token on his side and the monster card on yours. and not too bad if I have to say so myself. For Pokemon, I would say if you have large amounts, go into retro. Usually people love those, and if you can put in the money for PSA, go ahead, but only do it for the high or higher wanted cards. So if it's a Charizard, freaking put that Charizard in anything famous or high, like Charizard, any of the Venusaur, Blastoise, Mewtwo, Mew, anything big, legendary. Usually they go for high. Of course, depends on the card, depends on this. Like, one of my favorite cards for Mewtwo is Prototype Mewtwo. It's the one that came out in Shining Legends. I know they call it somewhere else now, like Tube Mew or who knows what. Everyone was calling it Prototype Mewtwo, Prototype, or just Prototype at that point. I mean, when I was watching, maybe someone else came up with a better name. I mean, if it is Tube Mew or whatever, I don't like it. That's just sounds like a discount YouTube or whatever, or sounds like a very dangerous part of the internet. After all, I don't know. We're at the 22-minute mark, and I think I haven't talked a lot. I feel like it's only been like 10 to 2 minutes, and I have more to say. I want to talk to you more. So, I've talked about cards, what to do with Yu-Gi-Oh!, what to do with Pokemon. Pokemon, you have to keep your eyes out. Like, it won't always be the simplest and most forgiving thing to do. After all, it's one of the most expensive ones to get into. After all, I think out of every card game, of course the big three, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, Magic, it has the highest price for packs so far. And yeah, I think it does have the highest price for packs. It's like $5 or something. It's like including tax. I'm all like, what the frick? I could buy like over 3 packs for almost $9 in Yu-Gi-Oh! And you're telling me I could barely buy 1 or 2 at that point? Like 1.5? It was like, well, I only have enough money for like a pack and a half. Can I just have half of the pack? Yeah. Cuts the pack in half. Ends up there's like a secret rare like $40 card. I was like, well, I should have paid the 9 something extra. Well, too bad. You screwed up. Also, look into the clearance bins. And look into the sets. TCG Player, look into that. I forgot which app I used for keeping track of the charts of prices of cards, but I usually use that once in a while. Also, when you go to Goodwills, usually you won't find anything. Of course, there's always that one location, the location at the store where they always have the most high-ended or most items like consoles, more collectibles. At one point they had games or completed sets. And usually you'll find something, usually not for cheap. If you do find anything for cheap in the cabinet of wonders, what I've called it, usually you'll find something interesting. Usually not something you could resell. I mean, if you do, it's very rare to do. I say go look in the backs, in the books. Maybe you find a few mangas. I've done it. Find a few mangas, a few guidebooks. Hey, guides, if you bring them in, if it's the right ones, they can go up. I mean, depending, like our location usually takes guidebooks for $1. Sometimes it's rare and they'll take more than $1. For my Mario Kart Double Dash, they took $4 or $10 for, and that's more than I've paid originally. So, yeah, I mean, keep an eye for it. I mean, I would say always try to keep a coupon on you or try to buy it in half off, but you can't always have that luck, and usually you probably won't. And recently, look into the bags. I know it's fishy and they smell bad and usually not in good condition, but sometimes you might find something interesting. My friend Ryan bought a Wii bag, carrying bag for a Wii, of course. And I don't know if he sold it, but I forgot how much he bought it for, but he did make a decent amount of profit on it. A few dollars, $9 to $10 I think it was. And if you find one, you might be able to find an Xbox 360 one. I know those go for a bit. If you find a GameCube one, especially the one with the 2 bags on the side and not the cube or that weird shape ones. If you find that one, the one that actually looks like a camera bag, then you're in a good zone. But also, if you buy it for like, I know shipping, it can become expensive for the how much it weighs. Usually, do not look into anything too heavy unless you're making a huge enough margin of profit. I say, if an item will cost you $9 shipping, I use an app called Macari to do that. I have a DVD, a sealed DVD for an anime, and on Amazon it goes for $100. It has the weirdest prices. It goes from over like $150 to $2 through $50 through $10, $15. It's all over the place. So might as well just have it promoted. But if an item costs, like for shipping, $9, example, and your item is making you a $30 to $40 profit, put free shipping on it. It will sell. If people want it, they'll buy it. And usually, if they don't sell too recently, give it some time, maybe a week or two. Start. Some places allow you to, like Macari, allows you to put a meter where you put the amount you want to get right now and the amount you want it to go down over time. And you can have it go down by $10, but see if the profit is still large enough where you still make a ton. Or, more than you paid for. At least $10 more or something around there, if it is that expensive for shipping. Of course, if it's something like a printer, sell it locally, offer up marketplace, use those. Because shipping for that is like over $20, $50, $40. Is like, don't go into that territory. And I'm telling you from experience, like large I sent it to Troll and Toad. I know, Troll and Toad, right? Over a $40 to $50 box. Guess how much I had to pay for shipping? Over $12. I'm more like, what the? At least I still made like over a $40 margin of the, I think it was around 40. Something around, I forgot how much exactly I made on the box. But, oh my god, the shipping was way too expensive. I'm glad. And also, Troll and Toad only allows you to do that for anything higher than 30. And at that point, if it's already heavy with cards, you're probably going to end up paying over $20 of shipping. If it's like a ton. If it's already difficult for you to just carry or to have in the box together where it won't fall out the bottom, usually it'll cost you around that much. That's why it almost happened to me. I was about to pay $21 for shipping for one box for a $30 thing inside. I'm like, yeah, $10 profit on cards that I could sell here and make the $30 without shipping. I prefer that. And I did. I sold it. I actually sold it $20 more. And I made more money than I've ever made with them. And Troll and Toad is good. If you have single cards that are worth a lot of money, yeah, Troll and Toad is amazing for that. Or some other places, like I prefer cool stuff. I prefer Troll and Toad for one reason. They take energy cards. Sometimes. Last time I sent most of my energy cards, yeah, they removed the energy card counter from their website for almost like 5 months. I was like, wow, did I send them that much that they had to remove it from their page, from their buy list? It was like, or a lot of people just brought it in or sold. Like, that's pretty good. Not too bad, I gotta say so myself. It's a pretty good. And yeah, I say try Macari. Always try Macari. Macari is the of course Macari has the verification with your ID. I don't know if let's just say if you're old enough or you have an ID, use Macari. I don't know if you have to now. Just use your parents' account or something. Just have it transferred to their account and then they give you the money, deposit, withdraw it out of their account and give you the money you earned, rightfully, of course. And if not, do OfferUp, sell it locally, have them pick it up, make sure you put it on the description. Because I know there's a few people on OfferUp. I hate it. I was about to dox them in this podcast because I hated it that much. Where there's a few people that keep the item posted and they never remove it or say it was sold, and they just keep it on there, and they never look at the message, and it's just there. One lady, so you know the LAD potion bottle that ThinkGeek was selling a few and became very popular with a few people, especially people that played Skyrim or anything magical related. And it was an aesthetic for the background. It looked really nice. I tried to buy it off of someone. I sent them a message over 2 years ago. And just recently, 2 years later, I finally got a response. And she said she had it only had a few things missing. And all of a sudden, when she finds out how much it was actually worth now, she didn't want to sell it. I was like, okay, first of all, I lasted over 2 years just to get a response out of you. And you see, oh, it's freaking expensive. And the thing is, she hasn't changed the pricing on it or removed it from OfferUp. So it's still there when you look it up. And it's actually $20. And I offered 10. I didn't know how much it was. I wasn't planning to resell it. I wanted it for the background of my videos. That's all I want it for. And frick, this chick does not want to sell it anymore just because is it collectible or something. I was like, yeah, but I'm just using it. I just want it to, because it looks cool. And okay, she doesn't respond. Takes 3 weeks. Once I ask her, like, so do you still have it? Like, I don't mind if it's missing a chain or anything, I just want to have it. I just want to buy it. It was like, oh, sorry, not for sale anymore. I'm like, oh, great. And the post is still on there. I was like, what the? If you're not selling it anymore, why have it posted anyways? And then people, the stupidest people, you offer them something they want to get rid of fast. I want to collect the rest of the GameCube collection. I don't mind if it's broken because I probably would never use the other ones, like, oh, today I'm using the black GameCube rather than the silver one or the indigo one. It's like, and I was going to buy a GameCube for $10. Of course, it was broken. It was mostly for parts. And, maybe I could, like, later on modify, have a few lights, make it look cool for the background, evolve the background for videos. And freaking, I asked him for 10 and he was like, okay, come and get it. I'm like, okay. I said that. I didn't respond like that. But I waited. 3 days later, I'm like, so am I still good for buying it? I was like, yeah, come and get it. I was about to respond like, hey, look at the sentence you just sent me and read it to yourself and see what's wrong. Come and get it. Isn't there something you forgot in that? Like, I don't know, your damn address or a pickup location or meetup? Like, how am I supposed to pick it up? You're telling me if I go to the city of Phoenix, the city itself, the town hall is going to be like, here you go, here's your game, I was about to say Game Boy, here's your game, I keep trying to say Game Boy, even though I'm trying to say GameCube. Your Game Boy, okay, GameCube, here you go, have it for have it play something, like, no. The town hall won't have it. Like, do you hear yourself? Do you notice what you're typing? And so I recently bought another game. I do streams on Random Victory. Usually I stream officially I do stream like Monday through Friday once in a while. Of course, I'm going to try to stream on Facebook and try to actually stream some other games on there. Some older ones, maybe finally go back into Mario RPG or some other ones. Because I hear older retro games are actually better on Facebook. Because people that are on there usually are more nostalgic, older, and they're using it more. So, also, and so I stream Saturday, Sunday to 6 to 9. Or depending on what time. Or if I'm done earlier, it's 5 to 9. Usually we have a pretty long stream, have some fun, and usually that's when most people come in. So, and then it happened. One of the games that was on sale during this month was the Flames of the Flood. Flames of the Flood. And it actually looked really cool, looked really nice. I want to play it, but I prefer physical copies over digital copies. And I'm not trying to resell my collection, what I'm thinking about is because PlayStation, you have to pay for PSN. And unless it's like Switch prices, like $20 a year, then don't bother telling me, hey, for a year you pay $60. It's like, no. 2 years, I'll pay $120, and with them, I'll pay $40 in 2 years. Who's better? Like, hello? I'm telling you right now, if you sold your service as $10 a year, you would go off the charts. You know how many people would be investing into that? How many people would buy just 5 years for $50 instead of that much? It's like, I would pay $50 for 5 years, so I wouldn't have to worry about renewing it. It's like, and then if you could transfer the PSN to a new console, like from PS4 to PS5, once that comes out, and if you transfer your account over, it's like even better. It's like, it's a no-brainer. But of course, people aren't that smart. It's like, you're trying to lose money, not gain money. It's like, I guess if you have the money for $60 a year, but I wouldn't pay that, especially because most of my friends don't even log on to PS4. So usually I end up playing single-player games like Horizon Zero Dawn, or multiplayer at home like Lego, Dragon's Crown, Lego Jurassic Park, Uncharted, Star Ocean, and Ni no Kuni, and some other games I have. So I prefer to have single-player games on there and have multiplayer games on my on my PC, because it's just free. Of course, some games don't have it as easy as Steam connectivity, and sometimes you have to go through some other terms just to get a connection or to play with others, usually Minecraft or everything else that's crazy. Yeah, so it's just better to have multiplayer games on a PC because you have the connectivity of just having and using your own internet rather than paying for a service for it. And of course you get like free games, but like I don't really care about the free games. Half the times you're just throwing me like lame games that no one's buying. Like people were getting PSN Destiny 2 for free like 2 months before it became free. I'm all like, well, that was a waste of time, wasn't it? Or when people bought it, I know one person that bought it for $10, and it was like the complete edition, came with the newest DLC. It wasn't too bad at that time, but now it's free, and now that DLC is like $40 for like, but so that's still good though. And so I try to buy physical games. Like the newest one I bought was SteamWorld Dig 2, and because I have SteamWorld Dig 1, but on my PC, so not the same thing. Eventually, I want to get the SteamWorld Collection, where it comes with SteamWorld Dig 1 and SteamWorld Heist, because they're all connected, and it's a huge world that I love, and it's a great game to play. And eventually, Ni no Kuni 1, because I own the second one, but they have so many years in separation that mostly nothing connects in characters. I think there's a few references here and there, but other than that, it's an amazing game so far. And so I tried to buy it off of this guy, and he ends up not even responding. I'm all like, the thing is, on OfferUp, once you archive it, sometimes it won't always delete the post or have it unavailable. You will still have it available for that person to see. It has to be unlisted for people not to see it again. And that's what I saw. And I asked him, hey, are you still selling it? So I saw his account. He wasn't active until something a few days ago. So I wait a few days, and he was active that morning, a few hours ago. So I go on one of his posts and ask him, hey, is this game still available? And he doesn't bother responding. I'm all like, so you're not trying to sell me the game? You're not even trying to make money? I don't care. Like, I sent him a reasonable offer. It was mid-price for what he wanted. 25, I asked 15. Technically, it's not half, but still better than nothing, right? The game is like $35 on eBay, and it's selling for $35, $60. But I'm not trying to resell it. I'm trying to have it, to keep it, to stream it, to have fun playing it, and having fun playing the game in front of others live, just like goofing off and stuff. But he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want me to sell me the game. I'm like, then why? I don't like those kind of resellers or those kind of people at all. Yes, I do have delays on responding, but that's because I want to come up with the perfect response. I don't wait more than 2 days. If I usually wait a few hours, and then I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna say if the price isn't good. It's like, thank you for your time. Your price was reasonable, but I don't think I can do it at this time. If you can have it in reserve for me for later on in the future, then I will buy it off of you for the price you're asking for rather than the price I asked for. Hey, that's not too bad. Like, one of the guys actually is actually keeping something for me for after the whole Corona thing is over. So until 2021 probably. It's actually a really cool Yu-Gi-Oh thing. I told him, if you need the money and you need to sell it and someone comes up later with a better price, sell it to them. I'll be okay. I'll just find something. It's just the thing is, he's selling something that's over $1,500. But I don't want to resell it. The thing is, it has one of my favorite characters in Yu-Gi-Oh! And, I mean, monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh! And the character is fine. Of course, it comes with one of my favorite sets, Light of Judgment of Light, and it has Utopia Victory on it. And Utopia Victory is actually one of my aces in my deck, so not too bad. I gotta say so myself. And the other thing, so I think this is the final thing. Marketplace. I had this issue on Marketplace. So I'm trying to buy a camera. I talked to this guy. I work with Aaron Live, or a trainer from Trainer TV. That's who I work with. I make some of his thumbnails, some of his stuff. I'm still a student. I don't know everything, so I'm still learning. We're both growing. He gives me tips, I give him tips. I actually gave him a pretty cool design for his studio. Like, if he ever gets up there for his ESO streaming, it'll be pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. Like, if he makes the studio exactly how I made it, it's gonna be a banger studio. You think like, oh, like Ninjas is cool. It's like, no, this guy's is gonna be awesome. It's gonna be amazing. 10 out of 10. I was about to say 10 out of 10. I was like, that wasn't even a word. Tem. Or is it? Actually, that's a video game. And it's already long enough. Okay, so last story, or last reselling thing I hate about resellers. Technically, this podcast is all about this episode is about reselling. And, I mean, tips about reselling, blah, 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 blah. And I'm trying to buy a Canon Vixia HFR 700 or 800. And mostly because both of them, I don't know if the 600 has it, but both of them are around the same. Of course, it's the 700. I'm pretty sure it goes from 700 to 70 to 72. For some reason, I don't know why they do that, but whatever. I didn't make it. It's on me. It's like the only difference between the cameras is Wi-Fi connectivity and a few other little functions, but usually the camera's around the same. Would have heard and what's people been reviewing. And I was trying to buy the 800 one or the 700 one. I didn't care because they both recorded and they were around the same. Some guy said like, well, if you can't buy the 800 one, just buy an older one. 700 is around the same. There's practically no difference. And except for like a few upgrades, but literally there is no difference, and you should just get the other ones. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna look up 800, then look up 700. I saw that a lot of people weren't selling it for cheap or for good deals. And usually I try to buy something for good deals to show people it is possible to flip money when you're not even trying. And that's what I did. I found 700 and I found an 800 one. A guy was selling it for 90, but I don't want to spend $90 and plus how much shipping is going to be. So I'm more like, I want to give him a reasonable offer. I don't need the carrying case. I don't need the tripod. I have that at home. So I asked him how much. So I asked him, is it still available? Okay. I asked him the price I wanted. So $50. So $40 off of the $90 he wanted. But then I asked him like, I'm only interested in buying the camera. I already own a carrying case and a tripod. So how much do you want for just the camera? And he just looked at the messages on Messenger. I'm like, dude, if you're not gonna respond, might as well just look at it and delete my messages and don't even bother responding. Okay? Or don't even bother looking at them. Don't look at them and let me wait. alright? That annoys the hell out of me. It's been over a week and he hasn't said nothing. I'm like, dude, if you're... I'm done. Like, I deleted it. I was done with that. I'm like, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna see when someone brings me a good deal. Some other guy sells like $100, but it was a 700 version, and this guy was selling an 800 one. The 800 version. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I mean, but yeah, that was mostly it. And that's all I have for you guys. So, thank you all for listening, and thank you all for listening to the Krabby Club podcast, and this is all for now, and until next time.